I have a minimum spend. I feel like anything under that is not worth my time, because if I've got to order the materials, blow stuff up, where's your profit margins in that?
Hello, Greg from Balloon Market here, and welcome to BMTV. And as you can see, it's quite an interesting one because we're on the sofa. And this, everybody, is Chloe from Just Peachy Events. Hello.
Hi, Greg.
Welcome to BMTV.
Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited to have you on here. We've got lots to talk about, but the first thing I always ask everybody to do is, first of all, choose a cushion. I'm going to choose this.
This one's my favourite.
I don't know, it just feels nice to hold something, doesn't it? We've not got any cushions, so we've got some of these cuddly toys available at balloonmarket.co.uk. That's not the reason we've got them on here. I'm sure people know that these are available.
They are lovely.
The second thing that I like to do with new guests is find out a little bit more about you. So would you please tell us a little bit about your story, how you got into the industry, and where you are now and what you do?
Sure. So come from a really corporate background, and I was a high net worth insurance broker, so dealt with wealthy people's home insurance essentially.
Okay.
And I was approaching an age where I didn't really want to do that. It's not really a life choice for a lot of people. It's just something I fell into.
Yeah.
And I suppose I've always been a really big Instagrammer, and I've got kids of my own, and America and Australian companies were coming into my feed, and obviously the more I was looking at them, I was seeing these wonderful big parties, these big balloon displays. Wanted to achieve something like that for my own kids. Trying to find something like that 3 or 4 years ago was really difficult. So I started playing around with a few things myself and set up Just Peachy, and it was just called Just Peachy. The page essentially was set up in August 2019.
Okay.
And it was really just mucking around with Amazon kits, I suppose, and tweaking them. I put fairy lights in them or flowers and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, roll forward a little bit, and we are coming out of lockdown. And one of the school mums knew I had this page, and she said, help us, we're having a party in the garden, we need some balloons. So I kind of went in it really nervously, but we did it, and it was all right actually. It wasn't too bad. And then straight off the bat, had another client, and then another client. So I was quite lucky. My third client was Sandra Redknapp. So
That is quite lucky.
yeah, it was. It was. It wasn't like a massive display or anything, but obviously that helped.
What's she like? Is she nice?
Lovely. She's just how you would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely. Yeah.
And then you carried on, didn't you, getting a similar kind of client?
Yeah, so I think I definitely had a target market in mind. I suppose it was ingrained in with me with my job, and knew how to obtain or network with certain people. So it's really helped me.
Yeah.
And then in July last year, I quit my job and now do this full time. So event planning plus the decor and styling. We're doing stuff with flowers and adding lots of strings to the bow. Yeah.
So it's 4 years that you've been.
So I'm in my 4th year of business. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's to come from that sort of background as well, insurance to balloon. I love to hear people's stories because everybody, I used to be in recruitment, and then I ended
I've always
up in
had
this
like a really
industry.
keen eye on fashion. I love fashion, micro trends, all those kind of things. And like I say, a lot of time when people fall into, I was definitely one of those kids. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I loved fashion, I loved dance and all those kind of things, but actually getting into those sort of circles, especially around when I was younger, it was really difficult. So, would I have had the courage to do this or start a business 10 years ago? Probably not. So yeah, it all just kind of fell into place at the right time. And, and weirdly, COVID was the right time and place.
I know.
to start a business.
It was for quite a few people. Yeah.
I think it's when it flourished for a lot of people because at-home parties were really big, and I think the big test has been this year for a lot of people.
I've got to ask you, Just Peachy. Why Just Peachy?
I really like peach aesthetics. I think a lot of people choose nudie style peach aesthetics, don't they? But yeah, it really appeals to me. But I always knew that a name was really important. I didn't want it to be generic. I didn't want it to be just about balloons. I love the fact that I can use an emoji. That was quite important to me as well.
Quite a cheeky little emoji.
It's a cheeky emoji. I was actually called Just Peachy Party for a bit.
All right, okay.
Yeah, and I changed it to events. I just felt it felt like it had a bit more clout to it.
Okay.
And I definitely knew that I needed it to cover a broader spectrum, I think, of events, because we wanted to do the planning. The planning was a big part of what we wanted to do. So, yeah.
Cool. So, I wanted you to be on the show because we've chatted, obviously, and there's your view on how to run a business is. You've got strong views on what you should do, what you can do, what you've done, how you've learned, and some of the things that we've talked about in the last couple of hours before we've come on set. It's really interesting, and I think it's going to be really helpful for people that are in business. I think a lot of people in our industry, I mean, you've got to learn how to create the things, and that's really important. But I think a lot of people forget about the business of running a business, and that's really important, and that's quite a focus for you, isn't it?
Massively. Obtaining clients and networking with the market that you want is really important.
So that's something you did. Obviously, you decided to target these high net worth individuals. So you live in Bournemouth, so you've got Sandbanks right there, so that's an obvious place, but there's other places obviously around here in the New Forest and everything.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you get these clients?
So word of mouth is obviously really strong. It's a really strong form. So if you do a good job, obviously they speak to their friends, and that's great. But you want to start hitting commercial property. So even yesterday, September, I know now periodically is a really good time of year to start nailing in and planning Christmas and New Year and kind of holiday season, if you like. So yesterday I DM'd probably 80 businesses in my local area.
Yeah.
And did a couple of informal calls. I mean, I had a coffee out and spoke to I had a meeting in one area, and then it just flowed into another one where I had a coffee and discussing, wow, what are you doing for your Christmas decor this year? Wow, okay, well, I'm going to run this promotion, and get in contact with me. Not too pushy, but just making sure that people know who I am, and when people are starting to think, oh yeah, well, we spoke to Chloe the other day, so yeah, let's get her in and we'll get a quote from her.
So I've got to ask you, because that's probably one of people's greatest fears is, okay, I'm going to go in somewhere and I'm going to pitch, which is effectively what you're doing. If you're buying a coffee, or if you're not buying anything, if you go into car showrooms, whatever. And it's the hardest thing, and to have the confidence to do that. So what exactly did you say? How did you broach that conversation? Just like
that. I had a coffee. I did kind of know the person I was talking to anyway, which helped. But again, it was just because I've done previous jobs. What are you doing for your Christmas decor this year? Oh, I've got some really good ideas. So
you've done work for them before.
It was
just an informal way.
But if I suppose if I was going straight off the bat, it's a bit more tricky.
Yeah.
And I'd probably approach that with an email first of all, and then maybe follow it up with a phone call. Cold calling's hard.
It is.
But I feel like our industry is fun and exciting, and people like being a part of that. It's not like we're trying to sell insurance, and that's what people, I think.
I guess as well, in that situation, I mean, you're going in, ordering a coffee, and quite often they'd say, oh, how's your day, or whatever, and that gives you an in as well, isn't it?
I actually have flyers.
Oh, right, okay.
I have flyers. I've had my son flyering before, like old school style. Yeah, don't be afraid.
That's really interesting, because everybody thinks it's all on this now. So your son?
My son. He's 15 years old. We sent them out round. We targeted certain areas and we sent some flyers. Again, I'm not really sure if anything came off of it, but it's getting my brand out there.
That's the thing with marketing. It's quite hard to know. It's easier now, I guess, with online marketing, with paid for marketing. It's easier to track that sort of thing. But the other thing I wanted to touch on there is 80 DMs.
Yeah.
So effectively 80 messages to 80 different people.
Yeah.
See, that is the work. You've got to do the work.
So I sent them examples of my work with a discount code, just saying Christmas offer. Tried to make it quite jazzy, but bullet point exactly what I'm able to offer them. Here's a discount code. We'd love to work with you. If you want any more information, get in contact.
Yeah.
And I've already got two or three meetings set up with some quite nice high-end.
So were these all previous clients?
No.
So how did you find these people?
Trawling the internet and going from area to area and finding nice hotels that I can approach, you know, going through their website, finding the sales team, the events team that would look after, you know, the decor section.
Yeah.
You know, so for Christmas decor, you know, the events team would normally look after that. So email them direct with showcasing your work. It doesn't have to be War and Peace when you're sending these emails, but try and make them, oh, I would love to dress Carey's Manor.
Yeah, yeah.
Make it specific.
Yeah.
Don't just send a block blank.
Absolutely.
You know, generic email that they can tell has just been gone to everybody.
It's a bit like applying for a job, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and if you've been in the hotel, I guess, you could say, I really love the room. It's like Rhinefield House. Have you been to there? Have you seen that there's a room there? I can't remember the name of it, but it's sort of Moroccan style.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't need any decoration in there. It's just so beautiful in itself. But if you actually talk about specifically a part of their hotel, they're going to buy into that as well.
Even chatting them up when you're there. So say if you're doing a balloon job somewhere like this, so say you did a wedding at Rhinefield House, for instance, let's just use that as an example. At some point, you're going to be speaking to the staff there. Start making that headway then. Oh, we've got some great, we'd love to dress this at Christmas time. Can I be in touch with you? It just softens that.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you do get in contact with, oh, hi, I spoke to Susan when we did a wedding there and we talked about Christmas decor. Is it okay if we set up a meeting and, you know, we take some measurements, come and do a quote for you?
Yeah, yeah.
You've got to put in the legwork.
See, I think that's something as well, that in this day and age, a lot of people, there's been a lot of new people coming into the industry. And there's a lot of people that have come into the industry that now teach, obviously with academies and things like that. And I think a lot of people want to just be told exactly what to do, and it's going to be magic and easy. But the reality is, you've got to do the hard work. So you've got to DM 80 people. If you're out and about and you can offer your service to somewhere, take advantage of that.
I think I'm assuming a lot of what happens is, and don't get me wrong, I think I probably thought a little bit like this at the start as well, but you know, you think that all your friends and your family are going to buy off you, but actually they're not your clients. They're not really your clients. You know, you've got to understand your market really quickly. Like, where do you want to go with this? You know, and I knew straight away. I don't think I cringe actually if one of my friends asks me for a display. I hate it because then, you know, I've got to go, oh, it's going to cost you this, and I know it's really expensive, but you know, I find it really hard.
And then they find it a bit awkward because, I didn't expect it
wasn't expecting it to cost that much.
Can I get a discount? And then they feel awkward for asking for a discount.
And that's kind of hard. It's such a labour-intensive job, and you know, it is you know, materials are costly, so you know, that's tricky.
But no, I think it's interesting, and credit to you. That's why you're doing well, is that you're actually sending these DMs and taking every possible opportunity.
Don't get me wrong, there have been times where I just sit there and I'm like, why am I not getting inquiries? And it's like, do you know what, I'm not doing, you know, you just assume that if you have a website and, you know, I've got an Instagram with over 30,000 followers, everyone knows who I am, and people are going to find you. It's so easy, you know, they don't. And a lot of those followers are not my clients, they're people from around the world that have liked a reel, you know, like Brazil and wherever, you know, they're not your clients. You have to do the legwork in your area.
The thing to also remember is that people aren't thinking about balloons every day. You know, they're going around their day-to-day business. They're not thinking of balloons. You've got to remind them, hey, I exist, I'm here. And if they follow you on Instagram, great, but they're not necessarily seeing all of your posts because of the way the algorithm works. So a DM every now and then, helps if they're your target audience.
Yeah,
So,
have a seasonal email that you send out to clients, reminding them of what you can offer, what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like I've always thought when you get your car MOT'd, if you're the garage that does the MOT, just set up a reminder email to go to, or text to go to that client, you know, 2 months before. And it's just such an obvious thing. So many people don't do it.
Or with, say you get a client on board and they've spent a lot of money with you, have a conversation with them that you're going to prioritise them for next year, or what we can do is we can put you in the diary. Then we'll pencil in a meeting at this point prior to it, so a month before, just to finalise details. You know, like, be assumptive that you're going to be doing this annually for them now. You're their party planner, you're their provider.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's almost like a renewal for insurance.
Yeah, totally. So that's what you...
but it is, but assumptively do that for them. It's a service that you're providing. It's not just balloons, it's everything that goes with it.
Now, one of the things I loved that we've talked about the other day when you popped in, and it was your door decor at Christmas, and it's spectacular. It is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's become a really big part of what we do now. Yeah.
And but what I loved most about it is you charge quite a lot of money for that. So again, you're targeting those high-end clients. But then you charge the following. So you then unpack that, take that down at the end of the season, give it to them in a box for them to store.
Yeah.
And then you charge them again the following year to go and unpack that box and put it all up again.
It's a service, yeah. Well, some of them can take 6 hours to put up.
Yeah,
you know, they're not small. They're quite intricate. You know, it's a lot of florist wires and making sure it's secure. Lots of cable ties, and new materials that we have to use. So, yeah, we do. But that's obviously now guaranteed business every time we get a Christmas client on.
But do you then find that the whole competitive neighbour thing kicks in, and they don't want the thing they had last year this year, and so they just order a brand new one again?
Yeah, well, trends change, don't they? You know, like, they don't always, you know, and a lot of those clients, they have a keen eye for fashion and trends, and you know, and the affordability's there. They want to change that. That's no problem. I'm here to cater for that. So yeah, and I may even offer it before they say it.
Yeah.
Do you like this style? This would look great.
Yeah.
Maybe if we tried this, or we can use some of last year's decor and mix it with this. That would look great.
Yeah. One of the things I just want to touch on that you've said there is that your friends aren't necessarily your clients, and you're talking about, for you, these high-end clients. And it's very easy, I think, for us all to feel that, oh God, there's no way I'd pay that. But to your clients, that is a very different percentage of what their income might be, for instance, isn't
absolutely. It? Yeah, I'm not my own client.
Yeah.
I'm just lucky enough that I can provide a party like that for my kids now. But realistically, I would never pay what these. But that's because my disposable income is different to my clients, and again, that's no problem. It's just a different mindset that you need to come out of.
But I think that's one of the things that's really important, and I do want to come on to pricing, because I think pricing is such a huge thing in our industry that needs some attention constantly. I mean, it's always been the case, but with lots of new people coming in, I think we do need to talk a bit more about pricing. But yeah, I think it's really interesting that you might say £1,000 for a thing, and you think, oh my God, they're not going to pay it. They're never going to pay it. I was like, okay, and just transfer you the money there and then. And I really like what you say. I'm not my client, and I think that's something that people have to remember and have confidence in what they're doing. So, but
putting a proposal together, I mean, I would never quote somebody by DM.
Okay. Don't
expect somebody to hand over £800 via a DM. They're looking for a professional service. So I always say to girls that ask me, do a survey. If somebody gets in touch with you like that, do a survey of the property, and lead that when you're in their home. They're expecting that service as well. So tell them where you think this display would look best. tell them that they're going to get the best photos, because essentially that's what they want from it. They want some lovely photos with a beautiful background to make a nice memory. That's literally the crux of it, isn't it? So lead that. So once you've done that, manage their expectations, get a quote out as soon as you can, but tell them it's going to be within this time. Always manage their expectations. It's a big deal. Send the quote out. But if you think about it, if somebody's let you come into their home to survey where this display is going to go, you're pretty much almost there, aren't you? You know, if somebody's letting you do that, come into, you've pretty much got that sale. You just need to get the latter bit done right. So then send out your quote, make it glossy. It doesn't have to be on a Canva, it can be on a Word document or whatever. But get your detail in there, bullet point it, and then just use some really sexy language about what that display is going to look like.
Bullet points, I'm a big fan of bullet points.
Yeah, bullet points. No one wants to sit there and read pages. I mean, it's always on one page.
Okay.
Get it out to them, and then just a quick one about how they can pay, and then bosh, done.
Do you give them options?
Yes, so we're always looking to upsell.
Okay.
It's just the sales in me. It's that ingrained again. But speak about that when I'm on a survey. I may mention that actually we can add in extra features, and I'll mention that to her as well, or him, and say, we'll quote you for the display, but I'm going to put in some extra features. They're optional, you don't have to take them, but 9 times out of 10 they generally do, because they just want it to look good. So
I suppose depending on the conversation you're having, if you're in their house already, you can bring your phone up and say, listen, I think this would look really good over there.
Yeah.
And
let's do the main display here, but actually we've got these light up numbers that we could do here, or a welcome sign, welcome easel sign as people are coming in, creates a bit of drama, like using this language all the time that creates an atmosphere for them to sort of really visualise how it's going to look. Oh my God, yeah, and buy into it, you know.
People find it quite hard though, don't they, to sell, I don't consider that selling. It is selling, obviously, but what you're trying to do is give them the best you can possibly offer.
You're creating a visual.
Yeah.
So you're creating the party in their head. You're getting them excited. That's the bit, I suppose. It's not so much selling, is it? I don't like using. I hate saying selling with selling it in, but
well, you're offering creating a service. You're, as you say, creating a vision for them.
Yeah, the vision, the excitement. Yeah.
Right, let's talk about pricing. You recently, on your Instagram, you've put a couple of interesting posts out there about pricing, about academies, about is pricing being taught in our industry. I think pricing is being taught. I, having years been in the industry, years talked about pricing, years seen training courses, and this is just me saying this, you can agree or disagree with me, I think it's all down to confidence. You agree?
It's confident pricing, 100%.
So people, if they're relatively new, just aren't confident in going out there and charging the same as you, even if it's for the same level of client.
It's funny, isn't it? And I think recently when I posted that, I spoke to lots of girls, like a lot of girls, and they were like, I just don't feel confident. And they were all saying exactly the same words to me, I'm just not confident. Okay, so let me swing it round and put it like this. So a plumber visits a house, he has a call-out charge. Then he needs to go and get the part, and that part may even cost like something like 25p. But he's charging £500–600 to fit it, and for the 4 or 5 hours that he's there doing the job. He's charging for his time. And that's the key bit that we're missing I mean, we all know that a lot of people price by foot and by meters, and that's they charge for a certain amount for their props and things like that. But it's their time that they're not confident charging for the time. So on that reel that I did recently, the actual overall time, which I actually probably spent from design to order to blowing to install to travel, all that kind of stuff, and then actually making my content, was probably about 6 hours. But I only charged probably for about 2.5, 3 hours, because you've got to put a bit of fair pricing in there. You can't be ridiculous with it, you know. But I've made sure that time, and I I have a minimum. I have an hourly rate which I charge, and then if I had to travel further than 5 miles, I'd charge travel. Collection's the same.
Yeah.
All these things, and people feel icky doing that, don't they?
Yeah.
But why? Why are we the only trade really that does that?
I know it costs you that. It costs you every time you get in
Yeah.
your car to drive to collect something.
Yeah.
It costs you.
You have insurance, you have overheads.
Yeah.
Some of us have lockups
Yeah.
and van insurance.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
All of that.
Yeah. Why are we not charging? You know, and we have tools like a tradesman. Why are we not charging like a tradesperson?
Do you separate all those things out on your quote or not?
No.
So you put that all
No,
in
no,
with
no,
one
no.
price. But
No, I'm transparent about the amount of meters because and you need to quantify how you
Yeah.
got to a price generally with a client.
But you talk about what they're experiencing, not what you have to do to give them that experience. Oh, I've got to get in my car, I've got to drive this
Yeah.
far. They're not
Could you
interested
imagine?
in that.
No.
No, you just
Yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's yeah. I think that's really good. But I think the confidence thing is absolutely key. So, what would you recommend people do in order to achieve that confidence? Is it just about doing it?
I have a minimum spend.
Okay.
I don't mind telling anyone it's £300.
Yeah.
I feel like anything under that is not worth my time because if I've got to order materials, blow stuff up, go to somebody's house, or I've got to repaint it, it's just not worth. Where's your profit margins in that? It just doesn't work out. And I'd rather do, you know, I don't want to do 5 jobs, run myself ragged, all under 300. It just doesn't make sense to me. So
Yeah.
I have a £300 minimum charge. And that's kind of the starting block, I suppose. And then after that is my hourly rate, and I know I have a pricing grid of how everything else is.
Yeah.
So now I quite comfortably am able to pull up a quote quite quickly because I understand where everything is and what everything costs.
Okay.
And once you've got that down on paper or on a spreadsheet, it becomes easier for you to stand by your pricing.
Yeah.
Don't be airy-fairy about it. Don't adjust your pricing to fit someone's budget.
You can bring the price down by offering less if you want to.
You can do, but don't assume just because that person is gonna think it's expensive. Don't then just go. Or another thing that a lot of people do, and I have actually been guilty of this, is not that often, but when I probably first started, is I send a quote out and I don't hear back from a couple of days, and then I sneak in. Well, we can do it for this.
Oh, before they've even come back? Oh,
It's
really?
awful. It's awful. Like, don't, yeah. So I used to do that sometimes with my insurance. But yeah, stand your ground, tell them what your price is, and wait for their reply.
Yeah.
When you send the quote out, it's usually a good idea to say, I'll be in touch in a couple of days to go over any questions if I've not heard from you.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good tip.
Again, managing expectations
Yeah.
to good sales.
Pricing is hard. When we did a BMTV on it, I don't know, 7 years ago, I think, and we created. I didn't understand it. After 12 years of being in business, I still wasn't 100%
You're not a
about
balloonie,
pricing.
though, are you?
No,
You sell
I'm
them.
not. And we are led as wholesalers.
Yeah.
We're led very much by the price that the manufacturers charge. So it's slightly different. But we used to do a lot of balloon printing, and it was effectively the same sort of thing. And pricing, I wasn't 100% how it all worked, taking into consideration overheads. When we started, it was like, well, if it cost us this, add a bit. And that was really how it was when we started. So I put together a spreadsheet that's our interactive pricing tool now that's on the website, and it just allows for that. You can just tweak the numbers. If you want to make a 35% profit, you tweak that number. Put your hourly rate in. The minimum, last time I looked at it was probably £25. Probably the minimum you want to charge now is £30. I know you charge considerably more than that per hour, but you've got to consider that you're not working 8 hours a day like a normal job.
Yeah.
and consider your overheads, consider your training, like say your van and all of this sort of stuff. You've just got to consider it all, and people don't. But that tool really helps.
Yeah,
it's
a really good starting block, stuff like that. And I think once you understand to charge for time, I did a lot of research on this actually over the last week since posting, and I've spoken to a girl who's fresh out of an academy, and I was like, you know, what did you get, and and she can't speak highly enough of it, and she really got loads from it. And she gave, and I said, well, do you feel confident enough to go out? And she said, yeah, but you've got to put it like, you know, you've got to think about it like this, Chloe. You know, a hairdresser straight out of college is not going to charge as much as, you know, you pay for experience, which is true.
I've got an argument for that. I'll come to that.
Yeah, but I do feel like if you're selling goods and services and you're going off, so you need to charge properly. And this is the problem. I think there's a lot of undercutting, and I feel, or have felt in the past, that I've had to bump down my rates to fit with what other girls are offering in the area, and that's been hard.
The thing is, I don't think people are intentionally undercutting.
No,
I think it all comes back to this confidence. So they don't think they can charge £500 for something because whoever's charging 500 is been in the industry a few years, knows what they're doing, they've got a big Instagram following. Yeah, they can charge £500. So I can only charge 250.
I had that one when we was having conversations with this girl, and she said, "Well, I'll need a few more followers before I can start charging that." And I was like, "What? That's the most bonkers thing I've ever heard." I was like, "You don't understand that a lot of these businesses have got lots of big followings because they've had reels that have done fantastically well and they've gone viral, and that's how we've all obtained these big followings." But I'm still looking for the same clients as you are, and we're still in the same, you know, it's
a big following.
It's mental,
isn't what people think it is. And I've talked to Bex about this before, and Catherine, and it's not, you might have, you know, 140,000 people following you, but like you say, there's people all over the world that aren't your customers at all. They just like looking at what you do. So you do have to be really aware of that. Don't just think that equates to being able to charge
coming into
more.
the industry, I think that's what a lot of businesses think.
But then
it's dangerous,
But if they've done the training and they've practiced and they've gone out there and done a couple of jobs, you can, if you want to do a couple for friends and family, even for free, to get out there to get some photographs, whatever, then that's absolutely fine. But
that's a really good trick, actually. I think if you are looking to go for more high net worth clients, something that I did was, when I did get a client, they had a booking that was sort of medium size, I would say to them, look, I'm going to put in a few extras here. You don't have to pay for it, but I'm looking to show off a certain skill set and some new props and make this a bit big budget. Is that okay with you? Because I want some good photos. Yeah, absolutely. And that was good for flexing my design muscles and getting me seen a bit more. It was quite a good way of getting out there and doing those bigger budget things. So without having to do it for free, without having to go to an influencer that you're not actually going to get really good content from and all that, you know, you're better off flexing your muscles with, like, I don't know, like a local beautician's in a nice area that looks beautiful, that you know lots of high-end clients would use, and decorating that, you'll actually get more traffic from that than you would do by doing an influencer for free, I think.
Influencers for free, that's not what people think it is.
No, and I still get asked that, actually, like businesses asking me, shall I do, I got asked by this, shall I do it? No. I did it once, never again, and it was not worth my time, no.
I want to come back to that hairdresser analogy. So as getting your hair done is something you do many, many, many times a year, many times throughout your life, and so people just have an idea of what they should be paying.
Yes.
It's ridiculous what women pay compared to what blokes pay. I'm gutted it's gone into double digits now when I have my hair cut, £10. It's a lot of money, but you do it a lot, so people And I understand the experience there.
Yeah.
You need that experience because it's somebody's hair as well. Whereas people don't know balloons. They're not doing that 10 times
It's
a year,
true.
5 times a year. They just see this amazing thing and they don't know if you've been doing it for 5 minutes or 5 years.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
sell the impact. Don't sell the product. Sell the impact
Yes.
of what it is you're offering. So
Yeah.
that's my argument against the
Yeah, no, I do agree with that.
the
Yeah, very much
hairdresser
so.
the hairdresser thing.
Yeah.
Listen, I could go on and on and on talking to you, and hopefully we'll be able to have another chat at some point about something else. But I want, if there's any tips you would give people that are relatively new in the industry, what would they be? 2 or 3 tips.
Charge your time.
Charge your time.
Charge your time. I think a big Instagram tip for me, the one that isn't used enough, is your bio is your shop window, and the bit that's in black bold type at the top, make sure you've got your town in there.
Okay.
That makes you searchable, and put something, whatever your thing is, whether it's balloons or florals or events. If you put balloons, that's the bit that when people are searching for a balloon artist in Bournemouth, that's the bit that comes up, and that's going to make you searchable, make people will find you.
Yeah.
So whatever keywords you're putting in there, that will make it's really key. But also don't be negative. I see a lot of bios that are negative. I've seen ones that are like, no helium with a big red X, no refundable deposits, like it's really neggy. And lots of people go on stories and they can be a bit negative, and they like, if they've had a bad customer experience, they go on and talk about it, like, eek, you know, people will remember more bad stuff than good. And if you're on there bashing clients, it's not a good look, and people will avoid you. So just be really mindful about how you are coming across to your clients. I'm very customer facing. Lots of balloonies I know, they go on and talk as if they're talking to other balloonies.
Yeah.
I would be mindful about how you do that. You can do the both, I think, but just be really mindful about how your videos come across. You know, is there a lot of background noise with pets or whatever? You know, like, just be mindful about how you're coming across, who you're talking to.
Yeah.
You know,
because it's all part. I know we've not really talked about it, and this is a whole other thing that we can talk about, is branding. And when you talk about branding, I think people think a logo or the colour or whatever. It's every single thing. It's every contact you have with a customer, every email you write, every reel that you put out there. It's every single thing you're being judged on. The people don't realise they're judging you. It's just like an overall feel.
Everything I put into my Instagram or any social for that matter is well thought about. The music that I choose to go on a story or a reel, I use a trending one, but I want one that goes with my brand. I like my brand's a little bit sort of, I try to go down that little bit more edgy route rather than the kind of like really flowery. I mean, I'm not going to be sat here in a flowery dress with a big poofy, I'm not like that. You know, I like edgy. I come from a music-y kind of background and stuff. So I like my brand to be a reflection of me, but in a professional way.
Yeah. Cool. Like I say, I could carry on talking to you for hours and hours and hours. But as a guest on BMTV, you get to ask everybody the question of the week, and I forgot to warn you about this. So, what question would you like everybody out there to answer in the comments?
Oh my goodness! I didn't know you did this.
I'm sorry, you didn't know. You clearly don't watch BMTV.
Okay, what do I want? Something that's relevant, I suppose, about what we've been talking about.
If you want to, yeah. Doesn't have to be. Could be anything at all.
In the comments.
What? This is market research. What do you want to know?
What do I want to know? Oh, I want to know a bit more about Facebook. Do people get a lot of traffic from Facebook? I don't use it. I don't play around with it that much. I would love to have some feedback about it. Is it dead?
Okay.
Is it dead for businesses?
Is Facebook dead for businesses? That's an interesting question. Thank you so much for that. That's brilliant. Anyway, Chloe, it's been an absolute joy talking
thanks
to you,
for having me.
and I hope we can sit down on this sofa again at some point in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe come out with you and see how you do what you do at some point. That'd be great.
That'd be
Fingers
really
crossed.
fun. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody out there, for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, please do hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon. You'll be notified every time we upload a new show. Stay happy, stay positive. See you all next time. Bye.
Bye.